In this video, we are going to talk about 38 tweets that can make you rich without getting lucky. More so, we're going to avoid the trap of becoming the person that gets rich but does so while they're stressed and miserable. Instead, we are going to do it without struggle and to be as calm as a cucumber. This video is going to be broken up into 4 different parts. The first part, we are going to talk about the man who came up with the 38 tweets, the author himself. Then we'll read through the 38 tweets. Oh, that's only 3 parts. Okay, and the third part is that we will expand on the 3 main aspects of the tweet storm that lead to wealth, according to the author, which are productizing yourself, the difference between money and wealth and actually understanding that, and the idea of infinite leverage. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Darragh, and on this channel we look at ways young people can live happier, richer and more productive lives. So if you do want to join in on the conversation, feel free to subscribe button down below. Don't miss out on any of the content that we do post up. As usual, I hope you extract as much value out of this video as I did making it. Let's get straight into it. Okay, am I talking from personal experience here? No, I'm definitely not. These tweets were written by my personal hero, a guy called Naval Ravikant. Now, I stumbled across Naval Ravikant a couple of months ago and I immediately became pretty much obsessed with his attitude towards life, what he's achieved, and his fine balance between, achieving what he has in the tech and investment world, but also maintaining that self-awareness that allows him to live a really happy and fulfilled life. And on that, I just want to put a really quick clip of Naval talking here on the Joe Rogan Show, just to give you an idea of who he is and what type of guy he is.
It's an odd balance.
Yeah, I think the reason why people like hearing me is because if you go to a circus and you see a bear, right, that's kind of interesting, but not that much. If you see a unicycle, that's interesting, but you see a bear on a unicycle, that's really interesting, right? So when you combine...
So as Naval mentions here, it's not really necessarily the individual components of himself that makes him interesting, but the combination of those components. Now, I think we'd all love to see a bear riding a unicycle, but we'll have to deal with Naval for now. Right, his attitude towards generating wealth is probably one of the most interesting and timeless descriptions that I think have been put out there in the web. And I think really, the fact that it's gotten the publicity and the reaction it did really does show testament to that. Overall, we have 38 tweets that we're going to go through in just a second. But before we do, let's hear Naval again talk on Tim Ferriss' podcast this time, just about what these tweets are, where he came up with it, and why he wrote them in the first place.
More attention to, because there are many different pieces of advice in this thread.
That tweet storm is a series of principles that I kind of wrote for myself in my head when I was 13 and I was trying to figure out how to make money. And it kind of came with a framework of how to be rich, but not by accident, to do it in a way that I could repeat it over and over and I would leave very little up to chance. Because I think there's kind of this, it's not completely mythology, but there's this belief that, to make money, you either have to be born rich or you have to be privileged or you have to be in the right circles or you have to get lucky. And I think that there are still ways to accomplish the original American dream, which is, make money, but do it in a deliberate, systematic way. And when I say money, I mean wealth. I don't mean like a law firm where you make, a couple $100 an hour, but you're still tied to the clock. I mean, like when you wake up when you want, you go to sleep when you want, you live where you want, and you have freedom. So to me, the purpose of money is freedom. And for that, you need to create wealth. And can you do it ethically? Can you do it sustainably? Can you do it reliably? Can you do it with people that you like? Can you do it doing things that you enjoy? And I think it's absolutely possible. Framework. And the tweet storm, I just wrote it down one day. And it's funny because obviously I have some experience at Twitter, so I know how to craft things. But I think that was written back in the day when the tweet limit was 140 characters too, so it was harder. But I just woke up one night when I've been thinking about it and I wrote out the whole tweet storm almost exactly like you see it.
Okay, great. Now let's start reading out these tweets. Now I actually have them on here on the iPad. I don't know if the light is kind of ruining that or not, but I have them all. There's 38 of them in total, as we've already said. I'm going to just read through them all as opposed to stopping and talking about them because first of all, you're probably shit sick of hearing my voice already, but second of all, they're best read one after another. So let's go. How to get rich without getting lucky. Seek wealth, not money or status. Wealth is having assets that earn while you sleep. Money is how we transfer time and wealth. Status is your place in societal hierarchy. Now I know I said I wouldn't chat about it. check out my video where I talked about the different games and status that Naval talks about. Very, very interesting. I'll link it up here. That's it. Second tweet is, understand that ethical wealth creation is possible. If you secretly despise wealth, it will elude you. Third tweet, ignore people that are playing status games. They gain status by attacking people playing wealth creation games. You are not going to get rich by renting out your time. You must own equity, i.e. a piece of business, to gain your financial freedom. You will get rich by giving society what it wants, but does not yet know how to get at scale. Pick an industry where you can play long-term games with long-term people. The internet has massively broadened the possible space of careers. Most people haven't figured this out yet. Playing iterative games. All of the returns in life, whether in wealth or relationships or knowledge, come from compound interest. Pick business partners with high intelligence, energy, and above all, integrity. Don't partner with cynics and pessimists. Their beliefs are self-fulfilling. Learn to sell, learn to build. If you can do both, you'll be unstoppable. Arm yourself with specific knowledge, accountability, and leverage. Specific knowledge is knowledge that you cannot be trained for. If society can train you, it can train somebody else and replace you. Love that. Specific knowledge is found by pursuing your genuine curiosity and passion rather than whatever is hot right now. Building specific knowledge will feel like play to you, but will look like work to others. When specific knowledge is taught, it's through apprenticeships, not schools. Specific knowledge is often highly technical or creative. It cannot be outsourced or automated. Embrace accountability and take risks under your own name. Society will reward you with responsibility, equity, and leverage. The most accountable people have a singular, public, risky brands. Oprah, Trump, Kanye, Elon. Give me a lever long enough and a place to stand and I will move the earth. That was something that he quoted from Archimedes. Fortune requires leverage. Business leverage comes from capital, people and products with no marginal cost of replication. And in brackets, code and media. Capital means money. To raise money, apply your specific knowledge with accountability and show resulting good judgment. Labor means people working for you. It's the oldest and most sought after form of leverage. Labor leverage will impress your parents, but don't waste your life chasing it. Capital and labor are permissioned leverage. Everyone is chasing capital, but somebody has to give it to you. Everyone is trying to lead, but somebody has to follow you. Code and media are permissionless leverage. They are leverage behind the newly rich. You can create software and media that works for you while you sleep. An army of robots is freely available. It's just packed in data centers for heat and space efficiency. Use it. If you can't code, write books or blogs, record videos, or do podcasts. Leverage is a force multiplier of your judgment. Judgment requires experience that can be built faster than learning foundational skills. There is no one skill called business. Avoid business magazines and business classes. Study microeconomics, game theory, psychology, persuasion, ethics, mathematics, and computers. Mathematics and computers. Reading is faster than listening. Doing is faster than watching. You should be too busy to do coffee while still keeping an uncluttered calendar. Set and enforce an aspirational personal hourly rate. If fixing a problem will save less than your hourly rate, ignore it. If outsourcing a task will cost less than your hourly rate, outsource it. Work as hard as you can, even though who you work with and what you work on are more important than how hard you work. Become the best in the world at what you do. Keep redefining what you do until this is true. If only we all had that time. There are no get-rich-quick schemes. That's just someone else getting rich off of you. Apply specific knowledge with leverage and eventually you will get what you deserve. When you're finally wealthy, you'll realize that it wasn't what you were seeking in the first place. But that's for another day. And finally, productise yourself. Okay, that's it. Well, very interesting. I must say, actually, personally, every time you read the tweet storm, you actually get something new out of it. That was probably my 10th or 11th time actually reading it, and there were some nuggets in there that I didn't pick up on the first 10 times I read it. So I would recommend having a look at it yourself after you watch the video and after we delve into a couple of these points here. We need to use a bit of common sense here. Reading that tweet storm isn't going to make you wealthy. But what it will do is it will employ you and empower you with some hooks that can get you on the journey to getting wealthy. Now, as we said, a tweet storm can't make you rich. But many of the tweets are self-explanatory, right? And as Naval said himself, some of the things there are to be discussed for another day. I want to hit on 3 real points that resonated with me and that I want to delve a little bit deeper into, and I think it might be of real value to you. The first thing is productizing yourself, and what does that mean, and what does Naval think that means? The second is the difference between money and wealth, which is pivotal that you understand it. And the third one is the idea of infinite leverage, and that was quite a new concept that I didn't really come across much before Naval says it. The first point is productize yourself. What does that mean? So this is what Naval said. Productize and yourself. Yourself has uniqueness. Productize has leverage. Yourself has accountability. Productize has knowledge. Yourself has a specific knowledge in there. So all of these pieces, you can combine them into these 2 words. Now we'll have put them on text so you can actually read it yourself. But if you are looking towards a long-term goal of getting wealthy, you should really ask yourself, is this authentic to me? Is it myself that I am projecting on what I am doing? And then, am I productizing it? Am I scaling it? Am I scaling the laborer with capital or with code or with media? So it's very handy and a simple mnemonic. This is hard. This is why I say it takes decades to build wealth. I'm not saying it will take decades to execute, but for the better part of a decade, you may be figuring out how you can uniquely provide. Now, I think that is a really hard-hitting point there that Naval talks about. We know all these things that he's talking about already, but with regard to productizing yourself, with regard to scaling it, with regard to doing it based off your own personal brand and to be patient in figuring out what it is, I think a lot of people do need to hear that. The second thing we want to talk about is what is the difference between wealth and money. So as Naval said, and if you're going to listen to one thing, I absolutely love this description of what money is. Money is how we transfer wealth. Money is a social credit. It is the ability to have credits and debits of other people's time. If I do my job right, and if I create value for society, society says, oh, thank you. We owe you something in the future for the work you've done in the past. Here's a little IOU. And we call that IOU money. Wealth is the thing you want. Wealth is assets that earn while you sleep. Wealth is the factory, the robots cranking out of all of our things. Wealth is the computer program that is running at night, serving other customers while you sleep. Wealth is even money in the bank that is reinvested into other assets and into other businesses. Even a house can be a form of wealth because you can rent it out. Although that's probably a lower productivity use of the land than some commercial enterprise. So my definition of wealth is much more businesses and assets that earn while you sleep. And the final point that I want to chat about here today is infinite leverage, right? What is infinite leverage and how can it be used to your own advantage to build wealth? Naval says, we live in an age of infinite leverage. Our actions can be multiplied 1,000-fold by automation, broadcasting. Now the impacts of decisions are much more than what they used to be. That's why we need a clear mind to operate at peak performance, tanning your mind. Operating at peak performance is something that I have looked at quite seriously in my own life and in my own job, my own career. And I think one of the things that has really inhibited me performing at optimum performance is burnout. And I think all of us can be quite susceptible to burnout. And if you are interested in how maybe we can prevent burnout, I would definitely check out this video up here where we talk about the 3M framework and how you can use that to stop burnout in your own jobs. As usual, I hope you got as much value out of that as I did. We'll see you in the next one. Slán.